Welcome to Teach Tech channel. Myself Karthik TS. Let us have a second session about the Python. In second session, I am going to explain about the data types used in Python and how to create variables in Python. So the data types decides the type of value to be stored in a variable. Python supports 6 data types, 6 type of values allowed to be stored in a variable. The first and foremost data type is numeric. Under numeric, the Python supports integer, float, and complex type of data to be stored. The second data type is sequence. Under sequence, you have what is called tuple, list, and range type of values can be stored in a variable. The third is dictionary. The fourth type is Boolean values. The fifth type is binary. Under binary, we have a byte and byte array type of data. Python also supports text or string. A data can be stored in a variable with the help of data types. Next, we are going to learn about the variables. So what are variables in Python? Variables are the named memory location that holds the data. Memory is created with a name, and using this name, the respective data supported by the Python data types, we can store the data into the variables. A special syntax is not required to create a variable, which was followed in early programming languages. A variable is created in a Python when we assign a value, which is completely different from the other programming languages. So there is, as I said, there is no special syntax to be followed. We can directly create a variable by assigning a value. When you want to name a variable, we have to follow certain rules. So those rules are, the first and foremost rule, a variable can be named with a short name as well as the descriptive name. When you want to have a short name for a variable, you can name it like A, B, C, X, Y, Z, many more. If you want to have a descriptive name for a variable, you can choose the words like name, age, speed, mass, storage, etc. Python variable must always start with a letter or an underscore, and it should never start with a digit. And if you want to have a digit, it should be after the first letter of a variable. Name a variable, you can use the alphanumeric data and the underscore. The variables in a Python is case sensitive, hence representing a name for a variable, small letters, first letter capital letter, and full capital letters for a name, totally different because they represent each individual memory. Now let us learn the valid and invalid variables of the Python. So a variable name can start with a capital letter or small letter, and you can assign directly value. You can have the in-between letter capital letters. Variable can start with underscore. Variable can have a name with a full capital letters. Variable can have a digit but only after the first letter, and the variable can have a split letters, split name separated by underscore. These are the few invalid names the Python does not support. When you name a variable, we cannot start with a digit. We cannot have a hyphen between the letters of the naming a variable, and no space is permitted for naming a variable. So let us test the valid and invalid variable. Okay, Python, get into the Python. Now test it. Use the capital letter, first letter capital letter, and pass the value XYZ, and it accepts. Yes. Now, how do you see the content of the variable? That is value of a variable. You can use the print function. Under the print using the print function, you can pass the value. And you can see the content of the variable. And if you want to see the type of value stored in a variable, you can use the type function. In a type function, pass a value, name of a variable. You can see particular variable name is holding the string data. This is how we create a variable by passing a value, and the data type of the variable is decided by the type of value we are assigning to the assignment of. If I go for the invalid name, it's starting with a digit, and if I try to assign some value, Python throws an error. It's an invalid syntax. And you cannot have hyphen between the letters. This is also not permitted in Python. Throws an error. Right? Thank you, viewers. If you like this video, please subscribe and activate bell icon for latest updates.